Cancer, there are some readings that come through quietly, and there are some that arrive with a particular weight that is hard to describe in advance. And I want to begin by acknowledging that this one is in the second category. I am being shown something for you that has moved me as I have been receiving it, and I want to share what is coming through with the care that the substance of it deserves. The substance involves a development in your life that has been forming for longer than you may realize, and that is now reaching the point where it will become visible. The development is significant. It is the kind of development that, when it becomes apparent, will produce in you a recognition that things have actually been moving in your favor all along, even during the periods when the movement was not visible. I want to walk you through what is happening slowly, because the unfolding of what I am sensing deserves to be received at the pace that allows it to actually land. Many readings rush. The rushing can compromise the depth of what is being transmitted. I want this one to be different. I want to give you the time to absorb each piece before moving to the next. The absorption is part of how the reading does its actual work in your interior. There is, in your life right now, a quality of preparation that has been ongoing without your conscious participation in it. The preparation has been happening on multiple levels simultaneously. On one level, your own interior has been developing in ways that have been continuous but quiet. On another level, the conditions around you have been arranging themselves in ways that are favorable to you. On a third level, other people, some of whom you know and some of whom you do not yet know, have been making choices and developing in directions that contribute to what is coming. The convergence of all of these levels is what is producing the development that is now approaching. I want to address what kind of development we are talking about. The development involves recognition. Specifically, it involves you receiving recognition that you have been worthy of for some time, but that has not yet arrived in a form you could see clearly. The recognition will arrive in a specific form, through specific channels, in a window that is closer than your skepticism might estimate. The form may surprise you, because the form may not match what you have been imagining, but the recognition itself will be unmistakable. You will know, when it arrives, that it is real. I want to share something specific about what makes this recognition different from recognitions you may have received before. The recognitions you have received previously have often been partial. They have acknowledged some of who you are without acknowledging the whole. They have been calibrated to particular dimensions of your life without addressing the underlying substance. The recognition that is approaching is different. It addresses the substance. It sees you in a way that the previous recognitions have not. The seeing is what gives this recognition its particular significance. I want to take a moment to address you directly, because the information I am sharing may produce a complicated response. There may be a part of you that has been longing for exactly this kind of recognition for longer than you have admitted. The longing may have been quiet, surfacing only at certain moments when you allowed yourself to register how much you have been doing without sufficient external acknowledgement. The longing has been valid. It has been the appropriate response of someone who has been giving more than they have been receiving in the dimension of being recognized. The arrival of the recognition is the answer to the longing. The answer is approaching. I want to share something about who or what may be the source of the recognition. The source may be a person who has been observing you with more attention than you have realized. The source may be an opportunity that has been forming behind the scenes in arrangements you have not been privy to. The source may be a combination of factors that converge into a moment that delivers the recognition without a single identifiable agent. Any of these is possible. What I can tell you is that the source is real, and that the recognition that arrives through it will be accurate, in the sense that it will reflect who you actually are, rather than projecting onto you a less accurate version of you. I want to mention something specific about how the recognition will affect you when it arrives. The effect will not be just emotional satisfaction in the moment. The effect will be a kind of structural recalibration of your sense of yourself. You have been operating with a self-image that has, in some respects, underestimated who you are. The underestimation has been a function of how the recognitions have been calibrated up to now. The new recognition will provide data that requires you to update your self-image upward into closer alignment with your actual qualities. The updating is one of the deeper gifts. It produces, over time, a quality of self-knowledge that is more accurate than what you have been operating with. The accuracy is one of the foundations of a fully lived life. This is Cancer Tarot, and I want to pause here because the magnitude of what I am describing deserves a moment of consideration. The arrival of accurate recognition is not a small thing in a person's life. It addresses a need that runs underneath much of human experience, the need to be seen for what one actually is. The need has been present in you. It has been operating quietly, not always with full awareness. The meeting of the need will produce, in the moment of meeting, an emotional response that may surprise you with its depth. The depth is appropriate. It is the response of someone whose need has been met after being unmet for longer than was comfortable. I want to share something about how to receive the recognition when it arrives. The first instinct may be to deflect. Many people who have been under-recognized for a long time develop deflecting habits that prevent them from fully receiving accurate recognition when it eventually arrives. The deflecting takes various forms, minimizing what has been said, redirecting the attention back to the giver of the recognition, producing self-deprecating comments that undercut the impact of what has been offered. These habits are protective. They prevent the recipient from having to take in the full magnitude of being valued accurately. The taking in is what produces the structural recalibration, which is part of why the deflecting protects against the recalibration. The protection is not serving you. The recalibration would. I want to suggest, for the moment when the recognition arrives, that you practice a different response. Allow the recognition to land. Resist the deflecting habits. Say thank you in whatever form is natural to you. Receive what is being offered. The receiving may be uncomfortable at first because it requires letting go of the previous self-image. But the discomfort is productive. It is the discomfort of growth. The growth produces, in its own time, a more accurate and more spacious sense of yourself. I want to address something about what may be happening in your life right now that is making the approach of this recognition possible. You have been doing the work that produces readiness for accurate recognition. The work has included continuing to be yourself in conditions that did not always reward the being. The work has included refusing to perform versions of yourself that would have been more conveniently received by people who could not see who you actually were. The work has included maintaining your own standards, even when the standards were not being matched by the conditions around you. All of this work has accumulated. The accumulation is what makes the recognition possible. People who have not done this work do not receive accurate recognition because there is nothing for the recognition to actually recognize. You have substance. The recognition is responding to the substance. I want to mention something specific about how the recognition will affect your relationships. Some of the people in your life will be moved by what they observe in you receiving the recognition. They will see a change in how you carry yourself. The change will be subtle but real. People who have known you for a while will notice. Some of them have been quietly hoping for this kind of development on your behalf, even if they have not articulated their hoping. The arriving of the recognition will, in its own way, address their hoping as well as your own. The mutual nourishment is one of the features of significant developments in a life that is well connected to other lives. I want to take a moment to share something about the emotional response that may arise in you as the recognition becomes apparent. You may experience tears. The tears may surprise you. They may not match the obvious sense of what you would expect to feel. They may be tears of relief or of release or of something that does not have a clear single name. Allow them. They are part of how the body processes significant emotional events. The processing through tears is one of the ways that nervous systems integrate major shifts. You can allow the tears without interpreting them as a sign of any specific feeling. They are just the body doing its work. I want to address what your life will look like in the period after the recognition has arrived and been integrated. The integration will take time. It will not be instantaneous. Over the weeks following the arrival, you will continue to process what occurred. You will continue to update your sense of yourself. You will continue to find that small interactions in your daily life take on a different quality because you are operating from a slightly different sense of who you are. The cumulative effect of all these small differences will be a noticeably different texture of daily experience. The texture will be warmer, more spacious, more aligned with who you actually are. I want to mention something specific about what the recognition will free in you. Energy that has been bound up in the unmet need for accurate recognition will be released. The energy will become available for other uses. You will discover over time that you have more capacity for things you have wanted to do but have not had the bandwidth for. The discoveries will be among the gifts of the period that follows. You may not have realized how much energy was being consumed by the unmet need. The release will reveal what has been hidden. This is Cancer Tarot, and I want to share something about the specific quality of who you are that this recognition is responding to. You have a depth that is not common. You see things that other people do not see. You feel things at registers that other people do not feel. You hold standards that other people do not hold. The depth, the seeing, the feeling, the holding are all real. They have been there throughout your life. They have not always been adequately received by the context in which you have operated. The recognition that is approaching is responding to these qualities. It is responding accurately, which is what makes it different from previous recognitions. I want to address a possible response you may be having to this. There may be a part of you that wonders whether what I am describing is real, or whether it is a kind of flattery that does not correspond to actual conditions. The wondering is reasonable. I want to address it directly. I am not flattering you. I am describing what I am sensing, which involves both your actual qualities and the approaching recognition that responds to them. The descriptions are calibrated to what is real, not to what would feel good in the abstract. If the descriptions feel like they go further than what you usually believe about yourself, the gap between the descriptions and your usual beliefs is part of what is being addressed. The beliefs have been underestimating you. The descriptions are catching up to the underlying reality. I want to share an orientation about how to hold what I am sharing during the period before the recognition arrives. Hold it lightly. Do not strain to believe every specific element. Allow what I am sharing to settle in you at whatever depth it naturally settles. The settling will produce, over time, a slight loosening of any beliefs that have been holding you smaller than you are. The loosening will create conditions for the recognition to land more fully when it arrives. Without the loosening, the recognition might bounce off the defenses that have developed to protect a smaller self-image. With the loosening, the recognition can penetrate to the level where it can do its actual work. I want to mention something about the timing of when the recognition will become apparent. The window is closer than your skepticism would estimate. I cannot give you a specific day, but the energy is active. You may notice, in the period before the recognition fully arrives, small precursor signs. A conversation that contains more appreciation than usual. A piece of feedback that lands with more weight than feedback usually lands. A moment of being seen by someone in a way that you registers as different from how you are usually seen. These precursors are part of how the larger development is preparing the ground. They are not the full event, but they are signs that the full event is approaching. I want to share something specific about how the recognition may interact with the rest of your life. The recognition will not be isolated. It will be part of a broader period in which various dimensions of your life come into clearer focus. Other developments will be occurring alongside the recognition. Together, they will produce a meaningful shift in the overall quality of your life. The shift will not be dramatic in any single moment. It will be gradual. accumulating across the coming period into a recognizable change that you can name. The naming will probably occur in retrospect when you look back at this period from later vantage point. I want to take a moment to address what you can do practically during the period of approach. The most useful thing is to continue your life with the awareness that something significant is unfolding. The awareness does not require special action. It just requires you to be present to your ordinary days with a slight extra attentiveness to interactions that may carry more than they appear to. Some of those interactions will turn out, in retrospect, to have been part of the recognition arriving. The recognizing of them in real time may not be possible. The retrospective recognizing will produce its own satisfaction. I want to share a small practice that may serve you during the approach. When you have moments of self-doubt or self-minimization, gently notice the moments without immediately acting on them. The doubts and minimizations are residues of older self-images that are about to be updated. Their continued operation is not evidence about your actual worth. It is evidence about what is about to change. So when the doubts arise, you can hold them with awareness, knowing that they are about to be revised by the conditions that are forming. The awareness is itself a form of beginning to update the self-image. The updating is occurring slowly, even before the recognition fully arrives. I want to address something specific about why this matters at the larger scale of your life. The recognition that is approaching is not just a moment of feeling good, it is a turning point in how your life unfolds going forward. Lives that receive accurate recognition develop differently from lives that operate without it. The recognized person makes different choices, attracts different opportunities, develops different qualities. The differences accumulate over time into a substantially different life trajectory. You are about to step into the recognized version of your trajectory. The version will be more aligned with your actual qualities than the version you have been on. The alignment is one of the deeper gifts of the period you are entering. I want to mention something specific about the people who will be part of how the recognition arrives. They are not people you have to seek. They are people who are already in your life in some cases, or who are approaching your life through their own natural paths. The arrival of the recognition will involve interactions with specific people, but you do not need to identify them in advance. You only need to be present when they appear. The presence is the requirement. The interactions will reveal themselves as they occur. I want to share something about a particular emotional quality that may be present during the arrival. The quality is something like sweet sadness. The sweet sadness is the response of someone whose long-held need has been met. The sweetness comes from the meeting. The sadness comes from the awareness of how long the need was unmet, and from the recognition that the meeting required a process that included difficulty. The sweet sadness is one of the deepest emotional qualities available to human beings. It signals the integration of a significant interior shift. Allow it if it arises. It will pass through, leaving you on the other side of it more whole than you were before. This is Cancer Tarot, and I want to take a moment to share what I think is the most important thing I have been able to articulate in this reading. You are worth what is approaching. The worth is not contingent on your continued performance. The worth is structural. It has been there all along. The conditions are catching up to the worth after a period of lag. The catching up is what is occurring. The lag is what is ending. You can rest in the structural quality of your worth, knowing that it does not depend on the specific events that demonstrate it. The worth would be there regardless. The events are simply confirmations. I want to mention something specific about gratitude. Gratitude can be a complex emotion when it involves receiving recognition that one has been waiting for. There can be an impulse to be effusively grateful in a way that overshoots what is appropriate. There can also be an impulse to suppress the gratitude in order to preserve a posture of independence. Neither extreme is required. The middle position is sincere acknowledgement in whatever form is natural to you. The acknowledgement honors what is being given without performing more than what is real. The honoring is enough. The honoring is the appropriate response. I want to address one specific aspect of how the recognition will land. It will land in your body before it lands in your mind. There will be a physical sensation, perhaps a softening in your chest, perhaps a warmth, perhaps a quiet stillness that you have not felt for a while. The body knows when something significant has been received. The body's knowing precedes the mind's processing. Trust the body's knowing in the moment. The mind's processing will follow in its own time. The body's response is the more reliable initial indicator of what is occurring. I want to share an orientation about the period after the integration has substantially completed. By then, you will be living in a version of your life that has the recognition integrated into its texture. You will not be thinking about the recognition constantly. It will have become part of the background of how you operate. The background quality is the goal. It is what allows the recognition to be foundational rather than ornamental. Foundations are not constantly admired. They are simply what everything else rests on. The recognition will become foundation. From the foundation, your continuing life will be built. I want to mention something specific about what you may discover about yourself through the recognition. You may discover that you have been more remarkable than you had given yourself credit for being. The discovery may be uncomfortable because it requires you to admit qualities you have not always allowed yourself to admit. But the discovery is also liberating because it gives you access to capacities you have been underutilizing. The access will inform how you engage with future opportunities. You will allow yourself to consider things you previously would have ruled out. The consideration will lead to outcomes that the previous self-limitation would have prevented. The expansion is real. I want to share an emphasis on what is most reliable in what I have been describing. The most reliable element is that the recognition that is approaching will be accurate. The accuracy is what matters most. Accurate recognition produces sustainable changes because it is grounded in what is actually true. Inaccurate recognition can produce temporary lifts that fade when conditions shift. The recognition that is approaching for you is grounded in your actual qualities, which are durable. The recognition will therefore be durable in its effects. The effects will continue to inform your life for a long time. I want to take a moment to acknowledge what you have done that has produced this moment. The doing has been long. The doing has often been unrewarded in the immediate term. The doing has required you to maintain your own sense of yourself in conditions that did not always confirm it. The maintenance has been a substantial accomplishment. The accomplishment is one of the things that the recognition is responding to. The responding is appropriate. It is the world catching up to what you have been being. The recognition is approaching. The approach is gentle. The arrival will be unmistakable, even if it occurs gradually rather than as a single dramatic moment. You will recognize it as it unfolds. The recognition of the recognition is part of the process. The process will deliver the outcome in its own time with its own particular forms. You can trust the process. The trusting is the practice. Walk into the next stretch of your days with the awareness that something significant is unfolding in your favor and with the willingness to receive what arrives with appropriate openness. The openness is not strained. It is just the gentle posture of someone who has been working towards something and who is now seeing the work begin to bear fruit. The fruit will continue to mature. The maturing is reliable. Here on Cancer Tarot, I want to leave you with a particular emphasis. You are not alone in your life. The unseen has been working on your behalf for longer than you may realize. The working has produced the conditions that are now becoming visible. The visibility will continue to unfold. You can trust the unfolding. The trusting is grounded in the reality of what is occurring, not in any abstract belief. The reality will continue to confirm itself as more of the pattern becomes apparent. You are loved. The loving has been present in ways you have not always seen. The seeing is now beginning. The seeing will produce, over time, a transformed sense of your place in the world. The transformed sense will support your continuing flourishing. The flourishing will produce more flourishing. The compounding will be one of the gifts of having received accurate recognition. I want to mention one last thing. The reading that has moved me to write this for you is real. The emotion I have been feeling as I have been receiving it is real. The substance behind the emotion is real. You can receive what is being shared as genuinely as I am sharing it. The mutuality of the sincerity is part of what makes the transmission work. The work is occurring. The occurring is in your favor. You are worth this. You have always been worth this. The worth is finally being recognized in ways that will be visible in your daily life. The visibility is the gift. The gift is yours. Walk forward into the period in which the gift becomes apparent. The walking is the entire practice. The practice is enough. The practice will produce the rest. The rest will be good. The rest will be more than you have currently imagined. You are seen. The seeing is accurate. The accuracy is one of the deeper forms of love. You are about to be loved through the medium of being seen accurately. The being seen will reshape, gently, much of what you have understood about yourself and about your life. The reshaping will be welcome. The reshaping will reveal what has been waiting to be revealed. Receive what is approaching. Receive it with the openness you are capable of. Allow yourself to be moved by what is being recognized in you. Allow the tears, if they come, allow the recalibration of self image that the recognition produces. The allowing is the entire practice during the integration. The practice is gentle. The reward is durable. The reward is the life that is opening before you, more aligned with who you have always been, finally receiving the conditions that match what you have always been worth. You are ready. You have been ready for some time. The readiness is what allows the recognition to land. The landing is occurring. The recognition is arriving. The arriving will continue to unfold across the coming period. By the time you look back, you will see this as a turning point. The turning will have produced who you have continued to become. The continuing to become is the substance of your continuing life. The substance is good. The substance is yours. Walk forward. The biggest surprise is approaching. The surprise is the magnitude of what you have actually been worth, finally becoming visible to you and to the world that has been preparing to recognize you. The recognition is real. The reality is durable. The durability is your foundation going forward. Trust this. Live in this. The continuing is the entire practice. The practice is enough. The practice produces the life. The life is yours. Receive it. It is here.